Good morning. Today we're in Luke. We're in chapter 6, verse 1. One Sabbath, Jesus was going through the grain fields, and his disciples began to pick some heads of grain, rub them together in their hands, and eat the kernels. Some of the Pharisees asked, "Why are you doing this? What is unlawful on the Sabbath?" Jesus answered them, "Have you ever read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and taking the consecrated bread, he ate what is lawful only for priests to eat. And he also gave some to his companions. Then Jesus said to them, 'The Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath.'" On another Sabbath, he went into the synagogue and was teaching, and a man was there whose right hand was shriveled. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal on the Sabbath. But Jesus knew what they were thinking and said to the man with the shriveled hand, "Get up and stand in front of everyone." So he got up and stood there. Jesus said to them, "I ask you, which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it?" I looked around them all and then said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He did so, and his hand was completely restored. But they were furious and began to discuss with one another what they might do to Jesus. So I read this and I thought, what a good one. You know, look at what the Pharisees are doing there, right? They're trying to be judge and executioner, in their pride and wisdom and knowledge and education. And so often you'll hear the disciples described as the uneducated ones. Myself, most of you probably going through my Bible studies haven't been to seminary, probably won't get there. But, you know, we haven't been programmed what to think. We're reading this through ourselves. We're testing it through the Holy Spirit. And not that there's not value in going to school, but you can see what these guys did with it, right? They put the law above the hearts and minds of men. And how often do we judge people by what we see and not by what they think? And so, you know, what King David did when he was, him and his soldiers were going through, to go and eat the consecrated bread meant for the priest. He had to know, what I'm doing is for God. I'm starving. My men are starving. There's food here. Surely God would understand what we're doing. But to the educated, to the rule followers, they're breaking the law. And so instead of going through the intent of the heart, which, only God knows. And I think we get to see here again, he knew what they were thinking, right? So often you hear, through the different testimonies that are being told throughout Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, someone said something somewhere. And for so long I thought, well, he must have overheard it. And someday I'll go through a dream I had with you guys. But there's a gift of telepathy, and it's a form of communication where all of our thoughts are known, and we'll know each other's thoughts. Not, I guess, in this lifetime, but the process of communication that we understand as language is not what's used in heaven or outside of, I guess, our dimension. And Jesus, while born as a man, had this gift, in our density. And so they would have thoughts in their mind. They would have conversations elsewhere. And Jesus would know of those conversations and those thoughts. and I don't know, get off onto another rabbit trail here. But protect your thoughts, right? Jesus knows our thoughts. He knows our intent. I guess there's a couple of things here, right? So let's don't judge each other when we don't know each other's intent, when it's really none of our business. Let's love each other. And then secondly, let's just keep our thoughts as pure as our words, right? If our words and our thoughts are matching and we're okay with, our thoughts and our words matching and for that to be exposed, right? Whether we're an employer or an employee, a husband, a wife, a brother or sister, if we love our counterpart in each of those relationships, and that love we have for them matches our words, how much easier is your day going to be? So I hope this spoke to you like it speaks to me. We were in Luke, we were in chapter 6. We started in verse 1, and let's see how far we got. We got through verse 11 today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little Bible study today. I hope you can go through it and maybe read it yourself, soak it through the Holy Spirit, use your advocate, and see what it tells you. Love you all. Have a great day.